sports analysis.
Entertainment reviews, and everything in between. Yo, what's that word? Third 12-minute podcast, episode 81. Hope y'all enjoyed y'all holidays. How you doing tonight, my boy?
Good. Chilling.
For sure. Tonight is gonna be the first of a night of passage. I'll let y'all notice some changes that's already apparent, but more to come. And we'll discuss that with y'all if y'all want to holler about it in the comments and on some future episodes. So y'all know we begin off with the Reddit warm-up. I got my guy Khalil in here. So this is an interesting one. Do women get turned off if you tell them you really like them?
I don't know. I guess it kind of depends on the kind of woman, or what woman you're talking to. Because I know some women's like some females like when you're direct. Some females like, I guess, when you chase after them and stuff like that. One of my favorite sayings that I was saying probably since high school is, "I got asthma, but I'm not gonna chase your asshole." Or I'm not gonna, but like I said, it just depends. I know they're the type of female. I know some females, like their love language is touch or, getting compliments, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I guess it just kind of who you appease to. But then again, some females, especially where we're from, they kind of more on the aggressive side. Kind of they want to have the pants in the relationship, stuff like that. So
yeah. Ain't going. I gotta say, yeah. I don't think that's ever, me personally, I don't think it's ever really, like, when you get to a certain point, because I'm interpreting the question as like when you kind of like love bombing a chick and stuff like that, will that like push her away? And so, from my experience has been, yeah. Which is strange, you know what I'm saying? Theoretically, you hear all these guys, people pandering and stuff like that, saying that's what you gotta do. But then it's like when you do that, you end up flopping. I feel like you end up getting taken for granted and getting used and stuff like that.
yeah, for sure.
You just gotta have a safe, cool balance, be calm and collected. And also, you should actually be the one where you feel like you're being chased a little bit, like she has the desire to get with you. Because I tell you what, any guy watching this, any female, you could think she don't look that good. She got at least 10 dudes in the inbox ready to do wild stuff that you might not even consider, ready to take care of.
I eats the booty.
Huh?
I said I eats the booty.
But she might not even look that good to you. You might just think, okay, this might be a sweet one. You just gotta. It's all about, if she really like you, how you stand out, how you carry yourself, and then that's gonna be the best thing for you. But that was a good little discussion for the Reddit warm up for sure.
I know the biggest thing I feel like as a man when it comes to females. Hold on.
And remember, just because it don't work for some people don't mean it's not gonna work for you. There are some women out there that love lover boys.
Oh yeah, but I think the most important thing, how to catch a female's eye, is kind of how you carry yourself, and not actually. Well, some females like bums, so I don't know, but I know most times it's about like how you carry yourself. If you got kids, if you're a good father, stuff like that. Staying out of trouble, not entertaining other females, stuff like that.
Yeah, I feel it. But yeah, like I was saying, good conversation for the Reddit warm up there. Episode 81, we getting right into it. Gonna have a unique discussion, of course. the flow of things is going to change a little bit, and y'all are with us on this journey to ease up into like what we're about to become for sure. So first, the trade that happened about a week ago now between the Nets and Lakers. Full trade details are the Nets received, give me one second, D'Angelo Russell. Give me one second. Nets received D'Angelo Russell, Maxwell Lewis, and 3 future second round picks. And the Lakers received Dorrian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton. How you feel about that trade, my guy?
So I like it for the Lakers. I also like it for D'Angelo. Because some of his best years was the first trade when he went to the Nets. And I feel like going to the Nets, he's going to be able, to have the ball in his hands more. Not have to really worry about messing up, and how probably is to play with LeBron and AD, stuff like that. I think his first 2 games, he's averaging like 16 points, like 7-8 rebounds, somewhere in there. So we could see D'Lo get back to playing at a high level. Maybe not the all-star level that he was playing at in Brooklyn, but I like it for him. And then
Is he starting?
I think he came off the bench the first game. Second game he started, I think, because Ben Simmons was out. So I don't know how it's going to go the rest of the way.
For sure.
But and then on the Lakers side, they get Dorrian Finney-Smith. That's a great addition. He's a very good defender out on the perimeter. I think he's averaging about 9 points a game as well, so he does bring a little bit of a scoring factor to them. And then Shake Milton off the bench as well. That's another good scoring option for the Lakers. It's a big upgrade from Gabe Vincent, in my opinion, who hasn't gone to – since joining the Lakers, he hasn't seen anywhere near the type of form that he was with the Heat. But yeah, I think the Lakers definitely got good out of that trade, especially better on the defensive end.
I'll speak on it from both perspectives. First for the Nets, of course, getting D'Lo, I think at this point, his best role would be an elite 6-man off the bench because he could score and create for his teammates. We know when he comes in, he's going to be hunting for a shot, and he's a generally good player. Still, in his prime or in mid-prime form. I think he fits the modern NBA with him being able to shoot the 3-ball, but most importantly, shooting it off the dribble. I loved the Nets getting Maxwell Lewis as well. A couple years ago, y'all can go back when I first was doing a 12 inning podcast. You will see I talked about Maxwell Lewis as a steal in the second round. I believe came from Pepperdine, was an elite player there in the conference he was in. Had a couple All-American type showings. I loved his game. It reminds me a lot of, again, a poor man's version, but a poor man's version of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is the leading MVP candidate.
Yes, sir.
I loved him as a second-round pick. And picking up those 3 second-round picks, they didn't give specific years on them, but we know the Lakers, LeBron just turned 40 and things like that. Since the last time we talked, happy birthday, King, on that one as well. But they could be well into the future, is my point. So we'll have to see how they play out. You can always find value in the second round, like a Draymond Green, Maxwell Lewis, Nikola Jokic, players like that, Trevor Ariza. So I like the trade for the Nets. Now on the Lakers side, I love that the Lakers picked up a piece that I think they needed for years in the sense of a 3-and-D wing to alleviate some of the pressure on LeBron. Because LeBron, he's a good point of attack defender, but that takes a lot of energy. Anybody who's ever a ball know that takes a lot of energy. LeBron has always been best when he's in a rover type situation. Even when he was playing for the Miami Heat, and a lot of people felt like he was the DPOY. He was in a rover, free safety type situation because if he's gambling, you trust LeBron gambling because he has the best IQ the game has ever seen. Yeah. So he makes good plays on that end. You got AD, who's going to be a staunch defender at the rim, on the perimeter, wherever. And now you got Dorrian Finney-Smith to slide in between those guys or take on the toughest perimeter assignments every night. You know, Rui was kind of taking on that role. Rui's not a great defender. He's a decent defender. He has good positional size, but that's not really his game. I much like him on those second, third level option, and then Austin Reeves, he damn near barbecue chicken out there. So you got to have guys that are going to be willing to rotate and help him. So I love the pickup of Dorrian Finney-Smith. He's having a career high shooting percentage from three at 44%. So he spaces the floor around LeBron and AD, which I also love to see. Not much of a creator, but again, you got two offensive hubs in LeBron and AD. And with JJ Redick's offense, we're seeing Austin Reeves take on much more of a creation role. What happened?
That man been balling.
He been hooping for sure. So I think it was big for him too. And then the second player was Shake Milton. He's a nice shot creator, good on the defensive end as well. I think he's been battling a little bit of injuries for the past few years, including a little bit this season. But like Khalil said, it puts players down a tier which all of the top teams have. Like I believe players that are in the Lakers rotation wouldn't be in the rotation of the top caliber teams. So now I feel the Lakers are properly building their team out. With all due respect, I don't think Cam Reddish will be in any good team's rotation. And I got respect for Cam Reddish, especially, you know, back from them Duke and pre-Duke days, high school days. But, you know, he should be an emergency option. Like we need a stop in this 2 minutes at the end of a quarter defensive player type option, not playing starters minutes like it was with Darvin and, you know, here with JJ sometimes. It slides him down a peg to more where he fits. I feel like the Lakers still need a big here. You know, there's been whispers about Jonas Valanciunas. Let me ask you, where do you think there's still moves to be made for these two teams, or where do you see them going from here?
The Nets, you know, I kind of think that they know that they're not really they're gonna compete, but they're not really a playoff caliber team right now. So I don't really think that they look to add any pieces as of now. But the Lakers, I think, having a good big to come off the bench. I'm not saying Jackson Hayes is bad, but I'd much rather Jonas Valanciunas coming off the bench to replace AD. You know, he's good IQ, big body, rebounder. He can shoot the ball, good touch around the rim, and he's a bruiser. Yeah. You know, he's a very physical, very physical center. So I can see them going after somebody like that. I'm trying to think of who else.
I'm surprised the Lakers didn't throw in one of those first round pick and try to get Nick Claxton in the deal.
He's another good rebound. He's a great rebounder. Yeah. He's double material.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I think that I made a video some years back. The Lakers obviously aren't going to do it now. It's rebuild, but I think the Lakers, if they're gonna, you know, fully commit to what, because I still feel like the Lakers are teetering on the edge of, do we want to just play out the string, kind of how they was doing with Kobe? Like we're not gonna go all in, but we're gonna at least allow Kobe to try to make the playoffs. We're not gonna make it appear as if we're not doing everything for our star, but in my opinion, that's what they're doing. Because they have trade chips, but they haven't pushed them all in ever since they made the mistake of trading for Russell Westbrook at the time. So I want to see them make a move. I don't think they're going to be able to get into that Jimmy Butler range without trading somebody like Austin Reeves or Max Christie, which I don't think they want to do. So we're just going to have to see. This might be the team that they play out the season. I don't think they got enough to get a De'Aaron Fox or anything like that. But I've been seeing people push back on, or at least the Lakers push back on them including Austin Reeves for De'Aaron Fox. Man, come on. I got a lot of respect for Austin Reeves. He a real baller, a real hooper. But if you can go get De'Aaron Fox, please go get him. As for the Nets, I think they need to try to just hit the tank. Just go ahead and hit the tank. Sell off Nick Claxton. I know nobody don't want Ben Simmons like that for real because that contract, but I think it's coming up, expiring in a few years, if not this year. D'Lo, I think he's going to be a decent trade piece. I actually saw a report that he was going to be a buyout candidate.
That's what I've seen too. Yeah.
Yeah, and if he's going to be a buyout candidate, I don't understand why you play him. So maybe they had a change of heart, seeing that maybe he could be a good six man. He seems like a good culture fit for the Nets. He's had his best career years there, so maybe there's something to that. But all in all, I think both teams. Go ahead.
No, I said, usually around the trade deadline, that man start going beast mode and stuff. So maybe once his trade value starts to creep up that way, they figure out what to do with him. But you said I wouldn't play somebody if I planned on buying them out. So
for sure. Well, let me ask you this while we on NBA trades thing. How you feel about everything that's going on with Jimmy Butler? Not as official, they listen to all offers for him.
I'm at the point where Jimmy Butler's been on all these teams and it's always come out with him getting traded. So I'm at the point where he's got to be the problem. Like, I understand this man willed the Heat to them 2 finals and everything. I'm pretty sure Miami appreciates that and everything. But it was when he didn't play, I guess, and Pat Riley told him if you didn't play, like, you should just shut up.
Yeah.
In the interview, and then ever since then, that's kind of been just the turmoil of everything. And then I kind of don't think the way Spoelstra is and the way that Heat culture is, I kind of just don't think Jimmy takes it as constructive criticism whenever he's getting, yelled at or put on blast, told what to do. I kind of think he takes it as disrespect. And that creates a big problem as well. Because I know Pat Riley said some stuff about Tyler Hero and stuff as well. And Tyler Hero bounced back from that. It was something that I guess he was like injury prone or soft, something along those lines. And Tyler Hero bounced back from that. But I don't see how by the end of this year, this will be his last year with the Heat because I know he has that player option coming up. And I know no team's going to want to pay that $50 million, $55 million for that last year for him.
Yeah.
I know he got suspended too. So
7 games.
7 games. I think it's like $3.7 million at the end of 7 games that he's getting fined. So
yeah. I mean, if I were him, I definitely have my agent appeal that, so I can at least get my money. But at the same time, it's like I feel what you're saying. As a Timberwolves fan, I actually respect the Heat for saying we're going to suspend you so it won't be a situation like what happened with the Timberwolves. Like, we got so much respect as an organization to let that embarrassment be on us. People still talk about that interview and what he did in practice to this day. And that was years ago. He's been on 2 teams since then. And people still talk about that as a notable moment in the league. So I respect the Heat for not letting that happen. Where I disagree with you a little bit as far as people won't be willing to pay that. They paid for Paul George, you know what I mean? And I think people know that playoff Jimmy is a real thing. Like, I think this whole trade came from him being unhappy with his role on the team. Obviously, it seems like Tyler Hero has ascended to be the number 1 option on the Heat. And I know that they're trying to factor in Bam Adebayo as maybe that second option, if not first option sometimes into the offense. And, the last game he played, I think their backup rookie center took twice as many shots as him. Terry Rozier, who's a backup coming off the bench, took twice as many shots as him. I don't know if that's Jimmy purposely not shooting to show his displeasure.
It had to be.
But at the end of the day, I still think he brings value, especially in the playoff on the defensive end as a shot creator. It's been talks between them and the Warriors. The Warriors not trying to give up Kuminga, which I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Kuminga as a prospect. Like, I'm not super high on him as I am other guys. I think there are other forwards. Like I think his ceiling could be something like a Pascal Siakam, but then again, I still think that's pretty lofty for Kaminga. You know, he's been in the league about 4 or 5 years now, so I mean, I don't know if he's going to reach those heights. I mean, there's already young forwards who are clearly better than him at this point. That he's older than like Paulo Ventura, Franz Wagner, a few other Mobley that fit that same mold. So we got to see how it goes. Um, Let us know how y'all feel about the Jimmy Butler situation in the comments below, and who y'all think would be a good landing spot for Jimmy Buckets and probably his final destination in the NBA. But then again, he's been around the block, so maybe not. Let's see. So Florida State had head basketball coach Leonard Hamilton is in a lawsuit for unpaid NIL payments. The players are alleging that Leonard Hamilton said he was going to pay him through his business partners, not the Florida State NIL collective Rising Spear. Even though they had knowledge of the situation, there was a potential walkout before the Duke game last year.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel about this whole situation and situations that are popping up around it, like around the country, like with Jaden Rashada in Florida and things of that nature?
I know they said that he promised them like $250,000 or something like that. So you know, from their perspective, I'd be mad too. If I didn't get it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of hard, just because you got to think of from a recruiting perspective how because Florida State basketball has kind of dwindled down a little bit over the past year. So from a recruiting aspect, it's how do you still compete with the blue bloods to kind of try to bring Florida State back into relevancy, especially in the ACC, which is one of the tougher basketball divisions.
Yeah.
So I mean, dude had to lie his way to some players, which I don't think any of them are on the team. I don't know how good, or I know Cameron Fletcher. I know who that is because I've followed him since high school. But the other few couple guys, I know I haven't really followed them. But I know it said, like you said, it was February 17th. They boycotted the practice before the Duke game, which was a big game. And then how he got them to actually not boycott, he told them that they'd all get paid the following week, which obviously we know never happened. And, they kind of, I guess, they relied on that promise.
Yeah. I mean, I think you got to put it like this. He finessed them boys.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm a Florida State guy. And so I've been wanting Coach Hamilton to ride off into the sunset, retire for at least 3 years now, because and I don't want to mess up your age, Coach Hamilton, but he's in between 72 and 76 years old. So with this new age of this Wild Wild West NIL, I don't think he's built to handle the rigors of this new age of NIL and how sports are being played on a collegiate level. First of all, you got these business partners saying they're going to pay for it. As the basketball players, I would have had to get a contract for that. You had players. Again, I'm a Florida State guy, so Darren Green, Cameron Fletcher used to date Angel Reese. Maybe that's why she left him. He said he was up 250K, then wasn't really for real. Nah, I'm playing. I'm just joking. There was one other player, and it was Jalen Worley, who was a 5-star recruit coming out of high school, a pretty good prospect. Never panned out to the level, and I think it was Strawberry was the last name of the last player. They're all promised $250,000 each, $250,000 each. Never got that, so I'd be mad too. But in some areas of the country, boy, they'd be at Coach Hamilton top by that type of money. But I'm glad they're choosing to handle the legal way. Of course, it's going to take a massive hit to the recruiting perception of him as a coach. I'm hoping this is his last year. I don't think Florida State can compete in basketball as currently constructed, the conference that they're in. Because even though the ACC has historically been known for being one of the tougher basketball conferences, the Big 12 is committed to being the best basketball country in college. The SEC is also heavily committed with their TV deals as far as being championship caliber teams in all programs. So the ACC, perception wise and NIL coffer wise, has slid back significantly. Florida State doesn't invest a ton as much as the big schools in basketball. I think in basketball, the schools in the ACCs are going to be going forward. Of course, Duke. They're a basketball school. North Carolina basketball school. Virginia. Louisville is another one. They're always going to invest in basketball. And maybe a school like Cal. You know what I mean? But other than that, Florida State, we need to get younger. We need to develop a different recruiting strategy if we're not going to go all in on basketball to becoming a more of a developmental program, and not lying to players about what you're going to pay them, because that's just a bad look. You look like you finessed them boys. You look like a thief. And why would I want to come to your school if you can't promise me what you said you were going to do? It's just a bad stain on the school, and with everything that's been going on, what can you say? It's just another thing that happened, and we're here talking about it. So,
bad year for Florida State, man.
Right, on podcasts like this, but in other podcasts on TV, it's just another bad look. So, hopefully, we can move in a different direction. But again, I don't think until Florida State is in a better conference situation with the lawsuit, that we're going to be flooding money into NIL regardless. And basically, in my opinion, to be paying the boys $250K each and to have the sorry season that we had the past 2 seasons, barely winning 10 games, they probably finessed us. But it is what it is, though. I don't know how somebody could promise me 250K and I don't get none of it, though. Like, that's just
at least some.
Yeah. I would have to think, like, I need at least 20K a week. Like, I need to be seeing this somehow, some way. But moving on. In 1 second, y'all. Y'all let us know how y'all feel about the NIL stuff that's going on around the country, because this topic we're going to talk about next has to do with it. Has to do with the ruling of Diego Pava. He originated it. Now NCAA is instituting an extra year for players who are seniors, redshirt seniors. For if they spent it in Juco, then they have an extra year of eligibility to play. There also been another whisper, but we'll talk about that in another podcast. We're going to focus on the Juco ruling here. How do you feel about that?
We about to have a lot of old motherfuckers in college. Hold on. But yeah, we about to have a lot of old motherfuckers in college, bro. I think it's good and bad from the standpoint of now you got super seniors, we can say, and they're going to be taking up more scholarships. So the younger guys that might have been getting recruited might not have the scholarships there. But also, you got talents like Diego Pavia. For him to do what he did with Vanderbilt this year, that speaks volumes. And just the fact that he gets another year to kind of do that again. Because honestly, this year, I would say I didn't see Vanderbilt having the type of year they would have. But that's just to go off, just kind of start it, just to kind of hear what you have to say about it. Then we can go from there.
For sure. Again, I agree with you on saying I think it's going to be good and bad. I think it's going to be. I'll start off with the good. I think it's going to be good for if you are one of those players that spent time in JUCO. It's going to be good that you get an extra season to build up potentially your draft stock. For for players who transfer last year. It's going to allow you to settle into a second year, potentially into a new system that you came from. And for the players who don't have NFL aspirations, it's another year to live out your dream, but also earn money from NIL, which was the ruling was based around. He argued since he wasn't able to earn that money from NIL and Juco, that he was going to be able, he missed out on a year of that. And so the courts agreed with that. So he's going to be able to earn that money. In my opinion, Diego Pava isn't an NFL prospect. He's a good college quarterback. So being able to earn a couple 100,000, maybe even over $1 million extra for his family and for himself is a boon that would have been there if he didn't have the courage to go to the courtroom. So I salute him in that. And we know a lot of people are late bloomers. They don't hit growth spurts until maybe they get into their first year of college or eligibility. And when they get into these JUCO programs, so now they're getting another chance, at least a year, to show it on the if not in JUCO, on the higher levels of football. Now, for the bad parts, I actually think it's just gonna do more bad than good. It was with the transfer portal, it was already costing scholarships for high schoolers. With the house settlement moving from the elimination of walk-ons to being 100, it went from 85 or 87, 85 or 87 up to 105 scholarships. I think now it's like the JUCOs are even going to be more of a farm system, because if I can recruit you and I can send you to JUCO and I know you're going to have 5 years in my program where you're going to come out, I can just stash you. So what's going to keep us, with the limit being at 25 scholarships that you're able to recruit, what's going to keep me from recruiting up to 25 and then having a couple guys saying, hey, go to JUCO. We're going to take care of you, throw you a little bit of money. We're going to make sure you get a little bread. And then when you get out of JUCO, come join a class later on, and we still got you for 5 years of eligibility, including a red shirt. So what's that's going to take away from is some of the guys at the high school level aren't going to get a chance, because on the flip side of that, I can just take a ready-made JUCO player now who's going to be older and he has more years of eligibility, and he might have been playing in a similar system depending on where we go with some of these high-level JUCO programs. So it's going to be tough as a high school athlete. It's always been tough, and the opportunities are going to dwindle a little bit more. But the cream are going to rise to the crop, and again, that's good and bad. And I think that's happening with a lot of NCAA rulings, but it's good and bad. But I will say, as far as the NIL component on it, I'm happy that players are making that bread, but there needs to be some guardrails around this. There need to be contracts that are ironclad so people know what they're doing. NIL was introduced in 2021, I believe. We're now in 2025, and it's getting wilder and wilder every year. There's reports of Quinn Ewers getting $6 million a transfer from Texas, and he's still in the college football playoff with a chance to win a national championship. Obviously, Texas been a slide, but even before we get into 12 inning bets, let's talk a little bit about the college football playoff. To not make it too long, give me what do you think was the best showing, and what do you potentially think was the worst showing by a team? So we'll start off with the best showing in your opinion.
It had to be Arizona State, man. I myself, when I say, I'm pretty sure everybody counted them out except Arizona State fans. I didn't think they had a chance against Texas. I honestly feel like they got robbed with that no targeting call. So they definitely, and then Cam Skittable, that guy's a dog. He does things I haven't seen a lot of people, or I haven't seen since kind of Christian McCaffrey type stuff. Throwing touchdowns, catching touchdowns, running the ball. He's a small guy. He looked unstoppable on the court, to be honest. So yeah, it definitely has to go to Arizona State for me. They definitely had that chance to win that game. Feel like they should have won that game.
Mm,
And I feel like that was the only team, honestly, from the Big 12 that could compete in the college football playoffs.
feel that. I would say my best showing so far has been Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame has been utterly dominant in versus Indiana, and versus Georgia. I think they outplayed, outcoached Georgia. They look more well prepared. I think that week of playing with Georgia being off for a while now, I think that week of playing helped them out, helped keep them fresh, helped keep them focused and in line for the goal. And I think Notre Dame is, man, they're potentially right there to win the national championship. Like right now, I will put them as my personal favorites to win the national championship, Notre Dame. What about in your opinion, not to ragdoll on the team, but we keeping it real here. What do you think was the worst showing by a team or individual so far in the playoffs?
Um, just the whole college football playoffs.
Yeah, yeah,
Try to think back on these matchups and how they went because I know the first round every team won by double digits.
yeah,
Penn State's been looking good.
yeah.
Ohio State looked good.
Yeah.
Um, I want to say Tennessee. They just didn't look like they were ready for the college football playoff atmosphere.
Yeah.
Um, I believe Ohio State like handed it to them.
Yeah, it was like
Um,
42-10 or something like that.
yeah,
42-10,
they just
42-17. Yeah.
something like that. They just did not look ready to play college type football, or they didn't look like they were ready to play playoff football at all.
Yeah.
Um, I feel like Nico still is in the process of developing into that quarterback that everybody thinks that he's going to be.
Right.
So I feel like it was kind of a learning experience for them, especially coming from SEC where they play that physical brand football to get bashed around and pretty much thrown around like that the whole game.
Yeah.
Jeremiah Smith, who's damn near the best wide receiver in college, he got
Oh,
off on
yeah.
them.
I don't think it's a
Um,
question.
yeah, he got off on them. They had Will Howard's been looking like a superstar.
Yeah.
So I think what they did, what they're showing, kind of just gave Ohio State that confidence,
Mm,
and that might propel them to the finals, honestly. But like
yeah.
you said, Notre Dame's definitely my favorite right now to win the actual championship.
Yeah. Ohio State right there with me too. That's why I was Notre Dame and Ohio State are neck and neck in my opinion. But I get a nod to Notre Dame personally, as a
Yeah,
defensive guy. Worst show I would have to say Indiana.
yeah,
I mean, tough matchup. Tough matchup. They've had a Cinderella season, a great season. Avoided some heavyweight matchups that they usually get with the new the lack of divisions. But they end up getting shellacked by Notre Dame. Wasn't competitive. Um, I just think it was the physicality of the Fighting Irish. We know that Notre Dame is going to come in physical. It just didn't seem like, not that Indiana wasn't prepared, but that they weren't able to match it. It's like, if you bench pressing with a really strong dude, you might have all the willpower to say, I want to do this, but you just can't. You know what I mean? So, like, you just physically can't. And I think that's what happened. And that's when you start to see a little bit of the difference in recruiting, even though, I think Tennessee recruits well. I think Ohio State recruits better. I think Ohio State was a little better coached, a little better prepared. But so far, I think it's been an exciting playoff, and I definitely like what I saw from Coach Dillingham. Coach Dillingham, a Mike Norvell disciple, was the OC at Florida State, so I'm definitely rooting for the Sun Devils going forward in the future. And it was an amazing turnaround right there for Coach Dillingham and the guys. Even saw Coach Prime shout him out for representing the Big 12 in a positive way. I think it's funny there's no SEC teams besides Texas, even though Texas is in their first year and really that roster has been built up through the, built Big 12 reputation. I think that's interesting. But I don't think it's the fall of the SEC, but we're going to have to see. Um, moving on to our final segment, we got 30-12 inning bets, my guy. Give us around 6 of them that you like.
Um, Go NFL. I like the Bengals to beat the Steelers, even though I know the Steelers are at home. Bengals are still fighting with hopes of making the playoffs. Their offense has looked unstoppable as of lately. Defense has been playing a little bit better. They have who, my opinion, might be the best quarterback not best quarterback in the league, best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and Joe Burrow, um, who I think he honestly might be top three. Just I think he's the only quarterback to have like over 300 yards, 3 passing touchdowns. It's like a streak he has going on. I think Houston's resting most of their starters. So I definitely like Tennessee to kind of come in and win that game in a game where I don't expect there to be a lot of points.
Mm.
Um, Giants in Philadelphia. Don't think the Giants have enough to even still be able to. Well, I don't even know because the Giants cost me last week. Decided to want to turn up on the Colts. But I do like the defense or the Eagles defense a lot better than the Colts defense.
Yeah.
So I can see the Eagles still pulling that one out.
I think the
I got
Eagles
the
are going to rest. I didn't mean to cut you off, family.
no,
I
you
know
straight.
that. I feel like the Eagles are going to rest some of their players because I know they're not allowing Saquon the
Yeah.
opportunity to try to get their record, which I don't know how I feel about it. How you feel about that?
Oh, I know for a fact they what's it called? I think it's more of a thing where they can kind of think that Eric Dickerson played 6 games or 16 games. He got the rushing record in 16 games. I don't know. I would want to play. I know that much.
Yeah,
So
I get it. You don't want the guy to potentially get hurt, but man, that type of record is like when you might never get again, especially with a guy with an injury history like Saquon over the
yeah,
past years. Well, that's twofold. Injury history could get hurt in this game. Injury history, he might never get a chance to do this again.
yeah.
So I would personally want to go get that record because that's like one of them records what Eric Dickerson thought was an immortal type thing, but again, it's a 18 game season now. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that the amount of games is going to go much past this. Like, I don't think we're ever going to venture into the 19-20 game round because the players are already complaining about the 18 games, which honestly, I get. The most I've ever played in a season game wise was 9 or 10. I understand how your body can be like beat up over that amount of time, especially with these guys playing from little league, high school, college, years in the pros. Like that's tough. But I'll let you get back to the next two teams we got on 30-12 inning bets.
I like the Dolphins to beat the Jets. I know they're playing in New York. It's going to be cold and all that stuff. Actually, no. I just seen Tua ain't playing. Um, that game, I'll go Jets for that game just because I don't. After seeing what Tyler Huntley did last week, I just don't think they're going to be able to move the ball. Especially they struggled in the cold with Tua. Tyler Huntley, I just don't feel like he's the quarterback for Miami, if I'm being honest.
Mm.
So I see the Jets winning that game.
Is Tua
I
hurt
like.
or is he just like
Yeah,
what's
he's
the deal?
hurt. I think he's still hurt. I know last week he missed because he was hurt.
Oh, okay. Is it do we know what type of injury it is?
I think it was something with his hip.
Okay, cool. For sure.
And then right now they got the Cardinals as favorites against the 49ers. Let me go ahead. Well, that's why. Um, I like the Cardinals to win that game. 49ers got Joshua Dobbs starting at quarterback. Um, I just don't feel like, or I feel like at this point in time, those teams are playing for nothing. So I'm
Yeah.
just going to go with the team that's going to give out the better roster there, which happens to be the Cardinals. They're at home. It's their season finale. Hopefully they go out with a bang.
Well, I like that one too. Do you have an upset pick of the week and we can end it off on that potential upset?
Let me see.
Mm-hmm.
I could see New England beating Buffalo. It's at New England. New England, I'm pretty sure is playing their starters for the most part.
Yeah.
As long as they're playing their starters, I think they can win that one. Buffalo's not really going to play any starters.
Yeah.
With Drake May and the Patriots, you have seen flashes of how good they can be.
Yeah.
And I think they, give the fans something to be happy about and look forward to the next coming season.
For sure. Definitely want to see Drake May and his new target next year and Travis Hunter. But for sure, been a good podcast. Y'all let us know what y'all think. Put in y'all bets. This podcast will drop tomorrow. I'm gonna work late for y'all to get it done. Dropping it off tomorrow. Shout out my boy Khalil. And I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. For sure, anything you want to say before we get up out of here?
Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what y'all want to see.
For sure.